What's going on, Tar Pit crew? Welcome in. Fresh live episode of the Tar Pit podcast. Joined here with my guy Trevor. Trev, Carolina kicks off 10:30 tonight over in Berkeley, California, making the trip across the country. Late kickoff, 10:30 p.m. on ESPN. We got the late night tip. I don't know what the score of the Louisville-Miami game is, but it's on ESPN right now currently. But we appreciate you joining in. Over here at the Tar Pit podcast with us, man, we like to keep things fresh and try different ideas. So sort of a pregame show was an idea that we came up with at the last minute this week, but we're going to give it a go. Like I said, we're live shortly before kickoff at 10:30 and excited for tonight's matchup between Carolina and the California Golden Bears. And we appreciate you guys tuning in, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Twitter. We just appreciate you being here shortly before kickoff. Trevor, I think it's pretty cool, bro. Last we were at the Clemson game at 140 Social. We did a live pregame show or pregame day show at 140 Social, and I thought that was pretty cool, getting the Chapel Hill a day before the game, seeing the atmosphere. But this is something different, man. After this, we get to go watch.
This is a real pregame show, right?
Yeah, exactly, bro.
I'm excited, man. Hey, John's got a question here for you, Troy. You finished that floor yet?
Hey, John, I did, bro. Yes, sir. I did. We, my wife and I went to Boone over the weekend with some friends of ours. Everybody that's watched our stuff knows I'm a secondhand App State fan. App State's playing tomorrow against Coastal, but all of our crew, our friends that we went with, got up there the day before we did, because I told my wife, I said, I'm not leaving here until we're not going to Boone until I get this flooring laid down. So when I came back in for a new episode, I'd be good to go. So yes, sir, to answer your question, the flooring is down. Now I just got to get some walls around me and some decor, but we'll get there.
Hey, we got this brings back old times, man. Me and you back in the older days. We got big shoes to fill tonight without Chris. So y'all give us some grace. Chris is I want to shout him out too, man. He's got a big weekend. He graduates tomorrow from UNC. I believe it's his master's, right?
Yeah, master's.
Something I could never accomplish. So shout out to Chris. He's we'll be up there watching him tomorrow, man. But he deserves some time off to go see that. And I'm excited though, man. I think we've got a big one to cover tonight. I don't know if you saw, I posted on Twitter the line opened up on DraftKings anyway at like 10.5, and as of last night it had dropped to 8.5, and now it's dropped to 7.5. So some big money people are putting money on the heels somewhere to make the lines shift. And John, hey, you keep putting stuff in here. I'm gonna lose some money because I'm gonna throw a lot of money. You talk me up, but I hope not, man. I'm excited for tonight. I think that this is a game where, as a competitor, when people come at you, man, it's either sink or swim, right? Your back's against the wall. There's been all this hate coming at Belichick and the team, and when you're a competitor, sometimes that can be fire. So I hope we've got a West Coast, so you got to deal with those conditions tonight, going on a West Coast trip. But I'm excited to see what we have tonight. We got a lot that we're going to break down, but I'm ready for the game, man. This is fun, a real pregame show.
Yeah, man, we'll have to keep an eye on the time. I know we were trying to time it. We were a little bit late on the live, but, like Trevor said, give us a little bit of grace. I do want to give a shout out to our guy, Chris. Big weekend for him. I'll piggyback off of that before we jump into things, Trevor. Big weekend for Chris, man. He's a big part of what we do here at the Tar Pit. A huge addition for season 3 and the future seasons to come. We're happy to have him on the Tar Pit crew. We miss him tonight. My intro, I was a little nervous over here, y'all. Y'all couldn't see me when the countdown was going on, but I was over here, got little butterflies. So I've had to knock some rust off. But yeah, shout out to Chris, man. It's a big weekend for him. I'm looking forward to celebrating him tomorrow evening, and going into Chapel Hill and celebrating him. He's a big part of what we do here. But Trevor, let's get into it, man. You talk about the West Coast trip. Carolina travels 2,800 miles to Berkeley, California to take on Cal. Carolina 2-3 this season, currently 0-1 in the ACC. Cal 4-2, 1-1 currently in the ACC. And a team, man, that has in Cal that has really surprised a lot of people. I think Cal and Virginia are the two teams that have surprised a lot of people in the ACC this season. Cal's coming off a 45-21 loss against Duke at home. I actually stayed up and watched that game in its entirety, and it was a pretty solid game.
I did too, man. I thought Cal for a while they were like that game got a little out of hand late, but Cal they looked good, man. They're a well coached team, and Justin Wilcox, big defensive guy, so they look good, and they definitely surprising some people so far this year.
Yeah, it was a team I remember during the whole portal season. When Belichick got hired and everything like that, Cal was losing Cal lost all of their running backs to the transfer portal. So it was like they were the butt of the butt of the joke in the group chat for a little bit. But here they are sitting 4-2 and 1-1 in the conference, and they've definitely turned some heads. But let's get into it a little bit, Trevor. We'll jump right into it. Little pregame note. I know we've got a little switch up at quarterback. Max was QB1 against Clemson. Gio is more than likely going to start. He doesn't carry an injury designation as we've learned tonight. So it's looking like he's expected to take the start tonight. And we'll just jump into it, Trevor. You want to jump into Cal's offense a little bit?
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off that, man. Every sign I brought Gio up because all signs are pointing. That the depth chart. I know you can't always follow that, but they had him listed first, and we'll see, man. I hope if it is him, we can get him going and keep him healthy. Regardless if he's at quarterback, keep him healthy. But one thing I want to before we get too deep into it, man. This is a little this uni matchup tonight. So this is what we'll be wearing, and then Cal, man, this will be a good uni watch tonight for those that follow that.
A lot of I've seen a lot of people on Twitter shouting out. Carolina's always had, in my opinion, the best uniforms in any college sports. I mean, all the way down to women's lacrosse. You know what I mean? Shout out to our women's lacrosse team, women's field hockey, all of them. But there's been a lot of people tabbing this right here as the best uniform combination that we've got, not the all whites. I dig the Tar Heel blue helmet with the all white look. I think it's fresh under the lights too. That's gonna be sick.
Sunday we had 6 of the commits on with us, and most of them are like all whites. That's our favorite. And I said, I'll be honest with you boys, them all whites over the past few years, when we go full all whites, that ain't been good to us. So when y'all get on campus, y'all better change that. I was like, y'all better change that. But yeah, they loved all whites, and I thought that's a clean look for Cal. So it'll be fun to watch. But yeah, man, we can let's dive into it. I see we speaking on Cal. Good point here, Zach. Cal, they've got he's a gunslinger at quarterback. He's a good quarterback. Go ahead, Troy. I know you've got some stats on him.
Yeah, I was sitting here looking at it, man, just throwing some stuff out, to cover Cal's offense, where they rank statistically through, this part of the season. They come in averaging 24 points a game, so not a high potent, high scoring offense. Averaging 351 yards of total offense a game. 255 of those are passing, 96 are rushing. Or receiving, passing, however you want to look at it. 98th ranked offense in total offense per game at 351. 50th ranked offense in total passing yards per game at 255. They are the 127th ranked offense in rushing yards per game. And we'll talk a little bit about this when we highlight some of their guys in the running back room. And then they're the 50th ranked offense in total receiving yards per game. So, you bring up their quarterback, Jaron Sagapulitelli is what his name is. Sagapulitelli.
I'm not even going to try, but it sounds like you're there. I'll give it to you.
I actually have it wrote down with pronunciations and enunciations to break it down to say it right. I botched the first one, but I got the second one. 130 completions on 209 attempts, 62% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And I want to highlight that 6 of those 7 interceptions have came in the last 3 games. He's also been sacked 12 times, but when you turn on the tape on this guy, man, he's a true freshman quarterback. I want to highlight that, because I think what we'll see tonight is some of him, and I'm not trying to dismiss our defense, and we'll talk about them a little bit more as we get closer to kickoff. But this is a guy, man, that can make plays, and as a true freshman, he is He's cool in the pocket. He's also, cool out of the pocket too. He can move. So he's a guy that I think in terms of our defense, we've got to put some pressure on him, but we've got to put the right amount of pressure on him because he can beat you with his legs. He's shown in the games that I watched. I know the Duke game really kind of got out of hand from them, and I think Duke did a lot of good things on their defensive end to throw him off of his game, and get their offense playing behind the sticks a lot in that ball game. And I think Carolina, from a defensive standpoint, really needs to mirror that because Duke did a great job at getting Cal their offense behind the chains, which then put pressure on him, and he made some pretty shaky decisions there with their backs against the ropes late in that game. So he's a guy that if you let him get comfortable, we saw with Cade Klubnik, he struggled coming into the Carolina game a couple weeks ago in Chapel Hill against us, and we made him look like a first team All ACC quarterback. So I think with this guy, we've got to play him smart. You've got to account for his legs, but you got to put pressure on him, try to make those rookie mistakes because he is a true freshman. And that if you can play, you can play. But you've got to be smart with what you put on him and make him make those rookie mistakes and then capitalize on it. Turn defense into offense. And we'll get to the offense here in a little bit, but I'll pass it to you, Trev.
I completely agree, bro. It's if you can, as a human, I'm glad you brought it up. 6 interceptions in the past, 3 games. So, as a human, it's human nature. I'm sure he's thinking about that, especially as a freshman quarterback. So if we can get on him early, not let him, get confidence, and that's going to be the key for us, I believe. Start fast on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball, because I don't think we're a team built to come back in games. So if we can get on them early, maybe force a turnover early, but it's going to be tough. We're missing our best corner. Thad's not going to be playing tonight, so that's going to be something to watch to see how whoever fills into that. I know we were talking earlier. I think it'll probably be Jaden Patterson. But
that'll be a good experience for the youngin. He's a guy that stuck with it and has came in and he's played early this year too. So I think he's gonna get the nod. But I'll let you finish your thought, Trevor.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you hit nail on the head, man. We're gonna have to get pressure on them. I believe I saw with the ACC games, they have to release a injury report, a depth chart now, and it doesn't look like Price will be playing, Price Yates, unless something's changed since I last saw it. But we're gonna have to, if we can get pressure on him, force some turnovers, get his confidence, keep it down. And play good ball, it'll be a key. But another key with Cal, man, is they've got a you said they lost all their running backs, and they lost some pretty daggone good running backs. But they've got a guy here in Kendrick Raphael. He's a transfer, actually used to play at NC State. He played for State when they played us back in 2024. I mean, he's a solid back. He's a good football player. Cal has struggled this year running the ball so far anyway. So if we can, and I know that's something we'll talk about next, but if we can control the line of scrimmage, put pressure on their quarterback, stop the run game, I think we've got a chance to make some noise.
Cal, to me, and you look at him statistically, the glaring stat that I spit out earlier at the top of this segment was 127th ranked offense in the country in rushing yards per game at 96.7. It's something that they don't really lean a lot, but they don't completely abandon it either. I mean, looking at Kendrick Raphael, he's carried the ball 93 times and produced 414 yards and 4 touchdowns, but he's averaging 4.5 yards per carry. LJ Johnson's another guy, 31 carries. Brandon Hyde Jr., 23 carries. I mean, they don't completely abandon the run game. They're just not really successful at it. 107 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 3.5 yards per carry for Johnson, 98 yards, 1 touchdown, 4.3 yards per carry for Brandon Hyde Jr. So the running game, that's why I say, and I'll kind of touch on our defense a little bit, Trevor, but tonight, man, you bring up Thad. I think this is a game that Cal's gonna throw the football quite a bit. They're going to try to test our secondary, especially with Thad being out, and Jaden Patterson's got to step up. Marcus Allen's got to have a really solid game. But more importantly on that, we got to have secondary help from our safeties as well. Gavin Gibson and Will Hardy, I'm looking for them to have a wake-up game today. I feel like our defense is going to get tested more through the air tonight. But I do think you look at the TCU game week 1 and going into that game, we had sat down with Melissa Treewasser with Frogs Insider, and she was raving about the passing game with TCU and the non-existent run game from TCU. And then they burst off for, 200 and some yards. And I get it. That's week 1. But what I've seen in the games that Carolina has struggled in, and we've struggled in every one of them, but from a film standpoint, as they struggle in making, just uniform basic tackles in space, not wrapping up, not finishing plays. While Cal doesn't run the ball efficiently from a yards per carry standpoint, they don't abandon the run game. So I do think that our tackling at the line of scrimmage is going to have to be key tonight when it comes to, limiting Cal. They're not going to abandon the run game. I don't think there's any college football program in the country that'll just completely abandon the run game. But you've got to tackle at the line of scrimmage. You've got to tackle in space. You've got to wrap up, and you got to finish plays. I've raved about it, Trevor, and you can kind of pick up on this too. I've raved about it in almost every game. Is the most frustrating part about watching this defense is the lack of execution on the fundamentals. And Bill and the staff have been adamant that guys are getting better and getting better and getting better. And one of the things that they're getting better at is, executing the fundamentals and doing the basic things that you need to do to win football games. And we'll see. We'll see how we come out tonight. But I'll pass it to you and let you pick up where I'm leaving off with this running game. We'll get into the wide receivers and we'll get into our secondary as well a little bit more. But I'm gonna pass it to you, bud.
Yeah, man. I mean, just take out if we could take out the run game, get pressure on this quarterback, force him to beat us, keep him in 3rd and long, make this kid make some throws, and I hope, man, especially as a fan, and, we didn't see it after, we had to bye before Clemson, and we came out for, first play of the game, we give up that touchdown.
Yeah.
So, we're coming off another bye. I hope that we come out and we're playing, just like you said, good fundamental football. Don't kill ourselves, and wrap up, tackle. And I hope that tonight's not the game that Cal gets the running game early, because I really, truly think that we've got a good shot if we can keep them from running the football and force the quarterback to beat us, and don't give them all day to sit back there and pick us apart. It's going to be a huge thing to watch. But I'm getting, as it gets closer and closer to game time, I'm getting more hopeful for our Heels, man. I have a good feeling about tonight. So we'll see what happens. I know John's in here. He's already posted his score, and he's backing it. But it's gonna be fun to watch. And they've got, man, this, when you put together the notes for tonight, man, and one thing that surprised me, and I know you're a big wide receiver guy, this cat here, I always like these stories. So he is and I don't want to mess up his name, and you can help me if I do, but I believe it's Trod Grizzle. But he's a walk-on wide receiver, leading their team in receiving right now, averaging 6.7 yards a catch. So curious to see
16.7.
Yeah, 16.7. Yeah. So that's good from a wide receiver. So we need to come out, and you can see what's Cal successful at based off these stats. This explosive plays. So let's, start fast, limit the explosive plays, and I think we'll be in a good position.
Yeah, I think I read a stat somewhere that said Cal has completed more
explosive passes.
Yeah, than we've attempted all season long. And, I think, you look at some of the guys that they've got in that wide receiving room, Grizzle, you touched on him, 24 catches, 400 yards, 1 touchdown, but 16.7 yards a catch is pretty solid. And you got a guy that also is a pretty lethal special teams guy in Jesus for 34 catches, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 8.9 yards per carry. So that to me really shows that he's kind of more of your slot guy. I think we've got to have some coverage on him and keep eyes on him at all times. Because if there's anything that can burn you up, and Belichick is a shifty slot guy. So we'll see how dialed in we are on the back end of our secondary. But then you got I don't know how to pronounce this guy's last name. I don't know if it's Mason Minnie or Meany. If any Cal fans are watching this, don't kill me for botching any names tonight. But arguably one of the most productive tight ends in the country at 26 catches, 279 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and averaging just over 10.5 yards per catch. But I said it earlier in the live, Trev. I do think this is a team that's going to throw the ball a lot tonight and test our secondary. So the matchups that Cal's wide receivers in our secondary, it's going to be interesting to see how we do against that. I've been critical of our secondary leading up to this point, and I'm not shying away from it. We've got a lot of I guess you could say we've got a missing piece in our secondary with our cornerbacks coach, Ramon Hawkins, serving his suspension. I know Belichick said it was kind of a team. Steve Belichick said it was kind of a team effort this week in coaching that group. And then without a guy in your leader like Thad, at your cornerback spot, it's going to be tough. So, Trevor messed up the stats for the meme. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. I was reading Big K's comment, but
coming at me. Hey, Big K, we said give us some grace now. Give us some grace.
Yeah. But no, I think this is a team, man, that's going to come out and looking to capitalize on the explosive play. So if I'm Carolina, at least me as a fan, and I know if me as a fan, if me personally as a fan, if I'm thinking this, I guess this is basic fan logic. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but if I think it, I would like to think that the coaches think it too, because they're the guys in the building. But if I'm Carolina,
numbers don't lie, right? I mean,
exactly. Right? If I'm Carolina, man, I'm number one thing that I'm doing is I'm limiting the explosive plays on the back end. You can't get beat over the top with this team. Some of the things I've seen in the secondary and coverage against Clemson just ain't going in the Clemson game just isn't going to cut it. So I think I've been critical of them. And Trevor, you can piggyback off of me if you want to on them, but the secondary has got to get dialed in, and I think it's at this point the catalyst of our defense. It's the group that's got to perform the best in order for us to be successful, because the games that we've looked our worst in are against teams that have somewhat of a pulse in college football. We've looked terrible in the secondary. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. So I want to kind of get your thoughts on that too, man. What are you looking for with the secondary? If we touched on it a little bit more, kind of go on from it, but
no busted coverages. First of all, how many times did we see Clemson and it was just guys weren't there, right? Busted coverages, and then when they got there, missed tackles. So, and you hit the nail on the head there. And what was it against TCU? Busted coverages, guys in the wrong spot, right? And I hate, speaking of Coach Mondo, man, I hate it for him, because this is a West Coast game. He's from Cali, going back home. So I hate that we won't have him there, but that's going to be a key, limiting those explosives. And I think if our front seven can set the tone, we've got some West Coast guys at the linebacker position. I'm sure they've got a lot of family. They're going to come out fired up to play. So, can our linebackers, Simpson, keep doing what he's done all year? Bayer, House, set the tone for the team, fire everybody up. And if we can just limit the explosives, no missed tackles, no, on the defensive side of the ball, and no busted coverages, I think we'll be in a good spot, man. And I believe, I don't know if this is official, but I saw a comment here. It looks like Gio is going to be the starter on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm good pretty much on the defensive side, unless you've got anything else you want to add to that.
Man, I'm good on our defense, their offense. I'm looking at just the things I've looked at. I'm sticking to what I've said going into this game. With our offensive struggles that we have going on right now, our defense has got to be on its P's and Q's. And I think the one group that hasn't been on its P's and Q's, if there's been any group of them, has been our secondary. And I think that's a big part of this game tonight. Cal's not a very explosive team. They're not a high scoring, potent offense. But with our secondary, what do we see tonight? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to play, devil's, I'm not trying to be the negative one in the room tonight. If I'm giving off those vibes, Trevor, please help me and send me a message or something. But
no, you're spitting facts. I mean,
I just want to see our secondary, have some consistency. And I'm not trying to pick on them solely tonight. I think there's certain things across our defense as a whole that each group has to get better at in order for it to click. But to say I've been mostly critical on our secondary because that's the group that's really kind of frustrated me the most out of everyone of the defensive groups on our defense. Devin, I'm gonna get you in here. Devin, shout out to Devin. She's an OG. She's an OG follower of the podcast. So, Devin, we're doing good. We hope you are.
And Big K, we can always count on them to be here. Hey, and John too. John might be giving. He's climbing up the leaderboard of fandom for us. So we appreciate all of you guys for supporting us. Zach too. We see you guys. We got our guy 94 feet in here with us.
Yes, sir. Linzel,
what's up?
That's the guy.
Yes, sir. But
yeah. John throws a good point in here too. We better double coverage on Grizzle. If not, I see him putting up 150 plus. I mean, I think he's a guy that can. He's a if there's a big play waiting to happen, it's him or Jesus for them in their wide receiver room. I think Jesus is more of the slot guy, kind of possession receiver. 8.9 yards per catch, but that Grizzle's a beast. We've definitely got to. That's why I say the secondary tonight is going to be key. I'll be looking at them. Complimentary football, run the football good tonight. Duke did a good job at that. Duke also had some guys step up in the wide receiver room, and we'll talk about our offense here in just a second. But Trevor, let's shift the focus, man. I want to touch on Cal's defense and go into our offense, and we can kind of slow it down a little bit. We're 30 minutes in here. We appreciate you guys tuning in. I think we're a little over 227 on a live right now. We've steadily grown on this thing tonight, but we appreciate you guys tuning in wherever you're at, whether that's on Twitter or YouTube. We really appreciate it and appreciate your support. But Trevor, I'll spit out some defensive notes on Cal real quick, man, and then we'll just jump into this thing. 57th ranked defense in points allowed per game. They're only allowing 22.5 points per game so far this season. 41st ranked defense in the country in yards allowed per game. They're giving up 329 of those. 56th ranked defense in the country in passing yards allowed per game, giving up 206, passing or receiving, however you want to look at that. And then 41st ranked defense in the country in rushing yards allowed per game. They're only giving up 123. So a pretty balanced defense statistic wise, but they're a group that's led by linebacker Cade Uluabe. I don't kill me, guys, if I botch some names, but tied for 30th in the country currently in total tackles at 52, 16 solo, 36 assisted, 1 sack so far on the year. But Trevor, a defense, man, you look back at their most recent performance against Duke. And a game that, their offense and their defense, they built a pretty good lead, 21-7 going in to the second quarter of that game. Correct me if I'm wrong on it. But and then Duke outscored them. They ended up winning 41-21, I think I said at the beginning of the live. But a 45, yeah. So, but a Cal defense, man, that looks pretty solid in my opinion. I think they do a lot of good things. Their secondary is pretty solid, and they've got a guy Hezekiah Massis, who's one of the premier DBs in the country with 24 tackles, and he's had 4 interceptions this year. I mean that's insane. So I'm gonna pass it to you, Trevor. Let's talk about their defense and our offense tonight, man. What you looking for?
I brought up this guy. I want to get him. So I have, as a, me and you, both Carolina Panthers fans.
Yeah.
Riverboat Ron. He had some good years for the Panthers. I'm sure we got some other Panthers in here, but he's their GM. And so when you talk about defense, Ron, big defensive guy, former linebacker at Cal. Justin Wilcox, their head coach, big defensive guy. And I believe, you mentioned the corner, there with 4 interceptions already. I want to say Cal was up near the lead in the country last year for interceptions.
Yeah.
So they do a really good job on the defensive side of the ball, disguising coverages, making it tough on the quarterback, and forcing the quarterback to make a mistake. So it's going to be interesting to watch whoever it is. Like I said, it looks like it's probably going to be Gio tonight, but it's going to be interesting to watch what that defensive does to us, how they disguise up coverages, and if we can, obviously this is a basic thing, but we haven't mentioned it yet. But if we can obviously not turn over the ball on our side and win the turnover battle, force the young quarterback at Cal to throw some picks, it'll be interesting to see what we can do tonight. But I had to bring up Ron, man. Big Panthers fan. I still got the jersey in the background. So
yeah, it's crazy, man, to see these see some of these NFL guys make their way into college sports, man. You got Bill with us, and then Ron. I think we had another one that we played earlier this year that had a pretty high, well-known GM or a coach or something like that. Or Andrew Luck. We play Stanford.
Is it Stanford? Yep.
Yeah. Andrew Luck's there. Isn't he their GM at Stanford too? Yeah, so it's crazy to see some of these high, well-known NFL names make their way into college sports, man. But Cal's defense, man, and I kind of want to focus a little bit more on our offense, our offense in this segment, because it's a group, man, that's taking a lot of heat right now. Not just the program in as a whole, but specifically on the offense and some of the frustration that fans have seen and just the product that we've put on the field. On that side of the football, we come in averaging 18.8 points per game. And, dude, I was sitting here, Trevor, I was typing up the rankings for Cal, and I would find myself going to where Cal was ranked at on offense. And then I knew that they were like 41st or whatever in some category. I'd go down and I'd start, all right, so Cal's 41st. Let me just count from 41 down to see where Carolina's at. Or I would go from the last team up to see where we were ranked. But, it's an offense, man, that struggled coming into this game. And it's a group, man, that I'm still holding out hope that will get it going. I think a lot of our issues going in here is the type of offense that we are running, and just who we've got at certain positions. I think we are very depleted, and guys just they're not being put in the right positions to make plays. We're averaging 260 yards of total offense, and I want to highlight this, guys, because these are hard numbers. These are exactly where our offense is. What are we? What is it? 9:41. I mean, what are we? A little under an hour from kickoff now. So
Yep.
this is where we're at right now currently. And I think I'm sitting here reading these stats and I'm going through. Yes, I'm from the supply area, John. To answer your question, I just saw it pop up over the chat, but I'm reading off these stats, man, and where we're ranked at, and the product that we've seen on the field is very fitting. It feels like, and that's a hard pill for me to swallow, but I'll get back into this and then we'll go from there. 133rd in total offense per game at 263, 124th ranked in passing yards per game at 161, 122 ranked offense in rushing yards per game at 102, and 124th ranked offense in receiving yards per game at 161.6. And yeah, I had a place in hold. And my bad, man. These chat, I don't know how you guys balance this thing, man. It's tough sitting here.
You're over there like a little dog. They throw a bone out there.
Yeah, I know. I get squirrel.
But dude, I mean, and I hate to do this, man, and we've made a point that we'll never bash the kids, but
yeah,
I went on record to say that if I wasn't performing at my job, I would probably get demoted or lose it, right? And I do think that Freddie Kitchens has not delivered for us. It's pretty obvious in the numbers. We said that the numbers rules things, and of course, we may not put all the blame on him, but a lot of it, man, it's just been bad football, and I don't think we've put our guys in successful places to succeed. And we harped on an offensive line that we thought was going to, be very good. Obviously, we had some injuries that set us back a little bit earlier in the year, but it's going to be something to watch to see if we can I'll go on a record here. You guys know I'm always a betting person, right? So I got Benjamin Hall tonight as the first TD scorer. So if it hits, y'all, go place your bets. It's pretty good odds. But the reason I do that is because we've seen Freddie Kitchens come out, and that scripted 10 plays looks pretty daggone good, right? Can we, other than the Clemson game, obviously, but I mean, can we build off a complete game plan? Like, can we get something going on offense and keep it the whole game against a Power 4 opponent? It's going to be something to watch. And we're not used to, you brought up these numbers, man. We're not used to seeing this stuff from a Carolina offense. We're used to the Phil Longo offense. I dog Chip Lindsey a lot, but I mean, especially running the ball. Obviously, we don't have an Amari and Hampton on here, but we put up numbers on the offense for a while now, even the Larry Fedora era. So we're not used to seeing this on the offensive side of the ball. So I hope we come out with a good game plan and we can build off something other than just the scripted plays come that first drive.
Yeah, I want to see us get a more consistent running game going, man. I think a lot of that we've got to get a good, consistent run block from our offensive line. But Damon June, 38 carries, 266 yards and a touchdown. He's a guy that, man, I think we've got to get the running back room more consistent. If we're gonna pick and choose when we're going to throw, you've got to have a successful running game, and we haven't had that. I think we've got the talent to do it. We just haven't seen the product on the field going into this game. And I think tonight, man, Cal's a team that doesn't really give up a ton of explosive plays on defense. I think we've got to have – I think this game, man, honestly has the potential to be a very muddy and low-scoring football game. I really do.
I hope so, because that'll benefit us. Because like I said
Yeah.
earlier, we're not a team built to come back from behind. Not that I've saw this year anyway. We've got weapons in the wide receiver room for sure, but not with our offense we're running.
Now I say that, and it also has the potential to be, a blowout, one way. I think we can all kind of agree on that. I don't think anybody has Carolina blowing Cal out of the water on their bingo card tonight. But I think it's a chance to have a muddy type of football game and a game that's low scoring. And I think, you've got to have some production from your running back if we're going to have, especially with the struggles that we've had on offense and just some of the things that we're seeing with some of the play calling. Hunter said Miami is cooked. Hunt, drop the score.
I got it. It's 24. I got it over here beside me. It's 24-13 right now, fourth quarter. I hope so. Maybe this is a trend. We'll see a ACC team going on the road and getting a victory. Maybe our Heels can carry that on. But yeah, Louisville's that's a good coached ACC team right there. So we'll see if Miami can come back or not.
Caleb said, "Wonder how much Charleston French we see with Hood retiring." That's a good point. I'll bring this up too because that happened over the bye week as well. Caleb Hood announced his retirement from football and taking a step back from playing. I don't know how much of Charleston French we'll see to answer your question, Caleb. I don't know where he's at within the depth chart, but I do know I think that increases the opportunity for either Benjamin Hall or Davion Gauss to take those. And Caleb played a pretty big part in our offense. He had a pretty good snap count when he announced his retirement. So those carries are going to be split, between Hall and Gauss, and we're going to have to see who comes out. I think with the amount of guys that we played through the season, we could see Charleston French come out and play, just like we've seen Shenard Clower come out and play against who was it that we went on the road and played? UCF. Yep. So, I mean, you never know who you're going to see on any given moment, I feel like, with this team. But I do think that, Benjamin Hall and Davion Gauss, they've got to have a step up in production, especially with Caleb announcing his retirement, because he
scored the first touchdown of the Belichick era, right? Who would have thought? What a wild couple weeks, right? to go from scoring that to retiring it. But yeah, I hate, man. I was hoping this would be the year that Caleb would really show out if he could stay healthy. So I hate that.
Yeah, I'm a huge Caleb Hood fan. Everybody that's watched our stuff knows, my history going to watch Caleb play at Richmond County, in some of those playoff games down there at Richmond Senior High School. So wish him nothing but the best. But on the football side of things, it's going to be interesting to see. You said you tabbed Benjamin Hall as a touchdown scorer tonight.
I got him first touchdown scorer. So Freddie, if you're listening, you just have Benjamin scripted first touchdown score. We're good. It was plus 1,400 when I got it, so it pays out. It pays out pretty good, man. So we'll see what happens. I want to shout out our guy Ross here, reposting the stream. Appreciate you, Ross.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You guys haven't heard Big Hitters Only. Ross has got a pretty good podcast that he does as well. So appreciate the support, Ross.
Hey, Ross, we'd love to hop on and chop it up with you, brother. Appreciate the support.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see Davian Goss get some love. He was a guy, and we were talking about this off air, just, personally of me. I think we were sitting down with Grant. Trevor, I don't think you were there. We were at Al's on Franklin, but we were sitting down with Grant, and, I told him one of the biggest head scratching things to me on offense was our utilization of Davian Goss. He was a guy last year that came in and played some pretty meaningful snaps and was very efficient in our offense last season. And I know, you switch up regimes and different coaching staffs have different opinions on players, but he was a guy that's probably one of the most head scratching things to me is his utilization this year.
I believe you had him tabbed second team All ACC, didn't you? Hey, I had us 10-2, so I can't say nothing.
Yeah, joke's on you, buddy. No, I did have him second team All ACC. That was my hot take when we were doing our season prediction or season overview episode earlier this year. Was Davion Goss was going to be a second team All ACC running back.
He's still got time. Maybe tonight he gets his call and we see it happen. So he's still got some time.
He's a guy, though, man, that I'd love to see have a game like Damon June had against Richmond. Just come back and get the juices flowing and really get a groove and kind of make up some ground in that running back room. He's a guy that I'd love to see because I think he's a talented player, man. I think he comes from down in Florida from Chaminade Prep. I mean, they've got athletes all across the field down there and the competition.
Yeah, he played with Jeremiah Smith and CJ Bailey. They had a pretty good team down there. But yeah, I'm with you, man. We'll see. Like if we can control, we got a little battle going on in the chat right now. But if we can control control the line of scrimmage, and get the run game going, that's going to make it easier on our quarterback. And we mentioned Cal's defense forcing turnovers. So
yeah,
you hit the nail on the head. Control the line of scrimmage. Mac Brown preached it. Usually, and I say Mac Brown because I used to hear him say it all the time, but usually the team that runs the ball for the most yards wins the game. So that'll be huge for us. But there's one guy that I've got him loaded up here in the drive. So Jordan Shipp, we love Shipp, right? You've been on record. I believe you tabbed Shipp for 150 yards one game and he hit it, right? A couple of weeks ago. So
no, he had the 2 touchdown game.
Oh, the 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
That's right.
Against Richmond. Right. It's the only 2 touchdowns he's had this year. But I'm still waiting for my 150-2, Jordan. I'm still waiting for it. My dude has got it in him. We've just got to utilize him better.
Hey, maybe it'll come tonight. That would be huge. So I'm excited though, bro. We were talking about this this matchup ahead of time, and like I mentioned earlier, the lines keep getting dropped. So my excitement as we get closer to kickoff, I'm getting a little more confident in what I'm saying. So hopefully Jordan will be an explosive guy for us tonight. Other than just a first drive like we've harped on.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself before we went live. You've been very critical of Gio Lopez's usage in our offense. And I've agreed with you. I don't think our offense that we're trying to run, best fits his skill set. And if you want a testament to that, you go watch some of his tape at South Alabama from last year and just how he was utilized. He came in as a mobile quarterback, and we haven't really seen him be able to use his legs as much as we saw him use his legs on tape at South Alabama. But I was thinking, to go back to my point, I was thinking to myself, I just had a wild thought as I was walking out here to jump on this with you tonight. What if we just go out and see Gio Lopez just absolutely run all over Cal's defense tonight? How exciting would I know I would have to call and check up on Trevor every time he rolled out of the pocket and gained yards, because I know you'd be ecstatic.
I would, because I'd be able to roll out my Gio Lopez jersey again that I paid $130 for at the beginning of the season,
Hey,
and posted on Twitter, and took a lot of heat when I posted that thing on Twitter, especially after that TCU game. So I hope so, man. But yeah, I don't think he's been used right. I said it. We brought him in from the portal, and we got an offense that doesn't fit him. But before he got hurt, man, we started to get him out of the pocket, and he made a couple throws that looked good against UCF. So, and he's shown, like, man, he can make go back to that TCU game, that pass he made to Jordan on that first drive. Yeah, he's got it in him, man. I think
the dime to Chris Culliver that he threw against Charlotte.
Yep. So that's going to be key, man. We're going to have to. We've saw in 2 games he has went down with injury. So can this offensive line protect him? Give him enough time to do what he does? Can our OC call a game plan that works for him and use them the right way? And can we control the line of scrimmage? That'll be a key.
Yeah, Caleb says the Gio situation is frustrating because of the plays. Yeah, I think, you hit the nail on the head right there with that one, Caleb. It is frustrating, and like Trevor said, I'm in agreement with him, and I didn't really think about it until you said it. Is the offense that we are running. I know it's kind of like a basic thought, but the offense that we are running, I don't think is tailor-made for his skill set. I mean, if Gio would have been in a Phil Longo offense, I think it would have been pretty interesting to see.
They would put up some numbers.
Yeah, I mean, sure. that was back when we were averaging 45 a game, I think it was. I mean, and to where we're at now, and I think that's why so many fans are frustrated with the offense and the product that we've seen leading up to this game. Here we are at 9:55, just 35 minutes away from kickoff. I'm bad at math, so don't clown me.
You did good
wrong.
there.
I appreciate
you passed.
It connected in my brain for the first time. I did math on the fly. So I don't even know where I was going with that. Help me out, bro.
I mean, it's his usage, right? But yeah. I will give Freddie some grace. I don't think Bill Belichick wants that kind of offense. He wants to, be the more physical. I said Matt Lombardi. Matt Lombardi is our quarterback coach, but Mike Lombardi, when they got here, they said they were going to build this thing from the inside out, and it was the lines of scrimmage, control the line of scrimmage. So it's not the type of offense, obviously, the Phil Longo offense, the spread, air raid. It's not what Bill wants to run, but there's other ways that you can, if you're going under center, bootlegs, and ways that you can use your quarterback a lot better. And speaking of, our offensive line, controlling the line of scrimmage, Austin Blaskey's had another week to get healthy, right? This bye week. So hopefully we can see that offensive line play a lot better tonight.
Caleb brings up another good point here. I'll prop this up here. He said we're practically Iowa on offense, but worse. I remember specifically asking Mr. Deems May this at 140 Social. I was like, so we're Iowa's offense. And but yeah, it's I found that pretty funny. I had a deja vu moment there. But yeah, man, I think the key, we'll obviously see how it goes. Here we are at 9:57, shortly before kickoff. And Trevor, we'll keep going for a little bit, and then we'll hop off this thing so we can let folks get ready for the game. But it all starts, for me, and I guess we'll kind of go into a wrap up and in a nutshell with this thing. But to me, I think on the defense, I think your secondary's got to be on its P's and Q's tonight. You've got to play. You got to play with your hair on fire and be tight knit, because they've got some guys on the offensive side of the ball that can burn you, specifically on the back end of your defense. But another thing that can't go undervalued on our defense too is stopping the run and keeping them in check on that, because while like we just talked about it, they're not a high potent running offense, but they don't abandon it either. So, and how many times have we seen Carolina get bid on a run from a guy that takes an angle and we just take a bad one and he runs right past us, or they've bounced it out to the outside, and then we just miss a tackle and he scampers down the sideline for 15 more yards. How many times have we seen that coming into this game? So I think with us, our secondary's got to be on our P's and Q's, and we've got to execute the fundamentals. You can't have the errors that we have on both sides of the football and not be a fundamentally sound football team. I can live with us, and I'll make this point because I've thought a lot about it over the last couple of days and throughout this bye week leading up to tonight's game, is you've got to get some kind of identity about yourself on both sides of the football. And we've yet to see that. We've yet to see Carolina establish an identity and be good at one singular thing. I know, and I'll bring this up too, because Steve Belichick said it leading up in his presser, I think it was yesterday, is that it varies week to week. You game plan each team week to week. I get that. That makes sense. But with our defense, we don't have an identity, I feel like, for us to we don't have an identity for us to really bank on to say, hey, we're good at this thing, then we can game plan around everything else. You know what I mean? I don't think we have anything with that we can hang our hat on. But with that being said, I do hope the guys have taken this bye week to get more fundamentally sound on both sides of the football, and just doing the little things right. I can live with us, and I'll go back to my initial point that I was trying to make. I can live with us losing, but it's how we lose. If we're just not a competitive football team, that burns me up more than us just losing. You know what I mean? Like, we go out there and we just, lay an egg like we've done against the last 3 Power 4 teams we've played. That kills me. That hurts me as a fan. I'll let you get your thoughts in, Trevor.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go. So real quick before I go in, so John did Bill let his son go? Saw him and his wife move. So no, actually, John, she did. So Jen Belichick is actually a supporter of the pod. So I saw that yesterday. Jen. Yeah, we reached out to her, and I know WRL posted. They were late. I'll tell you that. We knew yesterday. They just they got a permanent home. They moved a few miles down the road. So no, he's not going anywhere. So, but I'm with you, man. It's time to see an identity on both sides of the ball, right? Defense has looked good at times, right? Well, they've had some good games against Power 4 opponents, though. There's been a lot of, missed assignments, busted plays, and things we couldn't overcome. So it'll be interesting to see. Shout out Brad. Appreciate you, buddy. As always, that's our guy, yes, Brad Stone, OG legend. If you guys don't know Brad, he is a legend. I'm waiting for Brad's edits to come back, because Brad Stone will give. Is it Hayes Fawcett? He'll give him a run for his money, especially with the UNC edits. So
yes, sir.
But
Brad's that
you
guy.
hit the nail on the head. Hey, I want to ask you a question, and I'm putting you on the spot because we haven't talked about that. Give me one player from each side of the ball that you think is the key. If we're going to go out here and win this game tonight, give me one player from each side of the ball that you think is the key difference maker in this game tonight.
For offense, I would say Gio. I think he's going to have to be he's going to have a big game tonight. We'll see. We'll see. We talk about him being injured. He doesn't carry an injury designation, but we'll see how he progresses throughout the game. Trevor, you made a good point about Gio. Actually, it wouldn't shock me. I think you said it in the group chat. It wouldn't shock me if we see Max come in, if Gio's not moving the offense down the field. But on defense,
I'm glad you mentioned Max real quick, because if we recorded this whole podcast and didn't talk about Max one time and he's a starting quarterback, I'm glad you brought that up. But go ahead on defense.
Yeah, no, I had to bring up Max, man, because and shout out to you, because you did make a solid point with that. I'd said it leading up to, Max going in at quarterback. Gio wasn't turning the ball over, so you don't really have a reason to bench him. You know what I mean? Gio got hurt, which is the reason why Max came in and started against Clemson. But do we see a show do we see, a situation where if our offense is struggling to move the ball down the field, do we throw Max Johnson in? Do we see what works and what sticks? We'll find out here in about 27 minutes. But I would say Gio on offense because I think he's got to have whoever at quarterback has got to have a solid game for Carolina to have a chance and to get a win tonight. On defense, I'll have to say, God, I'm struggling on this one. I'm tossing up. I want to say Andrew Simpson. I think Andrew
West
Simpson
Coast guy gonna come out there and make some plays.
I think either Andrew Simpson or Kamori House. Both of those I was battling between those two. That's why it took me so long because both of those are West Coast guys. And I think both of those I would have to honestly say 1A, 1B with that. I think, the two players that have been, bright spots on this defense have been Andrew Simpson and Kamori House. And I think they both have to have solid games. Jaden Patterson's another one tonight as well. Will Hardy's another one too. I think I could go on and on about
y'all keep dropping the comments. We'll talk about every player. So somebody will do something good and we'll clip it and look like geniuses. So y'all keep bringing them in.
I would have to say one of our linebackers, man. I think they've got to hold it down in the middle. I think you don't want to get Cal's running game going. Price Yates, if we see him.
I don't know if he's going to play, but I would love to see him. No, I'm with you on that. I'm going to go. I'll start with, since you just did defense, I'll start with defense too. I'm going to say Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen's going to, Thad's out, he's going to have to, Kelly had that is going to be a big loss. We said when we were going through our cornerback preview, please wrap Thad up in bubble wrap, keep him healthy. Well, here we are, going up against an explosive team in terms of passing. That's the way they're going to try to beat us. So, oh my God. So yeah, I'm going to go Marcus Allen. I think I think this is his chance. And Marcus is, we said with him, this is a make it or break it year. We saw him at times get picked on. We saw Marcus. He had an interception last week. I don't care, or the last game. I don't care what the ACC refs looked at. That was an interception. So hopefully Marcus can get some confidence and make some plays tonight. So he's my key on defense. And then offense, I said player. I put you in a tough spot there. Offense, I'm just going to go Freddie Kitchens, man. It's Freddie Kitchens. No matter what quarterback we see, I think Freddie Kitchens is going to be in our offensive line. That's the coach talk, but I think Freddie Kitchens, no matter what quarterback, is going to have to put us in he's going to have to call a good game and put them in a place where they can be successful and succeed. So I hope that we start fast like we have, and I hope we keep the gas on the pedal throughout the whole game, and we come out with a big win, because we've seen all these reports and the media coming after Bill, and I'll say there's some people that really do not want Bill to
build the program.
The program, man. There's people out there that really do not want to see this program be successful. Belichick be successful. He's got a lot of haters, obviously. So I hope that we can come out and make a statement, and winning cures all. So we've still got a chance to go 9-3. Let's string together some games, but we gotta trust the process. I didn't get a chance to upload that clip that UNC Football put in there, but Bill is a process guy. We saw the players in that clip there. They literally are speaking, you can tell it's being preached to them. Trust the process, it's get better week by week. So he's saying, they're getting better, and I hope this is the game where we can actually see it for a full game, regardless of the final score.
Yeah, I'll throw this up here because Kelly made a good point. She said, "I think it's that game that turns the season around." I have a really good feeling. I hope I'm right, Kelly. I am with you 100%. I'm going into it, hoping that this is the game that Carolina puts it together and really puts a good showing out there on the field and walks away and comes back to the East Coast to Chapel Hill with a W. I think we need one. We really, really need one. I think the guys are hungry for a win. Trevor, you mentioned it. There's been a lot of talk about the program, not just Bill, but about the program as well here lately. And like you said, man, winning cures all. It is the ultimate cure for everything bad that goes around any sports program. I don't care whether you're football or badminton. It don't matter. You're winning, you feel good about yourself, and that leads to more program success. Guys buying in, and it makes them more confident as they go out there on the field. But that's all I got, brother. If you're good, it's currently 10:09. We're about 20 minutes from kickoff. This has been fun, man. I've had a good time with this tonight and hearing we're at 6:04 on the live right now. Currently, we've had good participation from the chat. We've had guys coming in here laughing, throwing names out, stuff like that. It's been fun, but I can't end the stream, can't end the live without giving a shout out to our folks over at 140 Social. We'll be back with them next home game, and then of course shout out to our folks at the Shrunken Head and Tailgate as well. Use the coupon code TarPit Pod for 15% off online or in store. The website is below. So super excited to be partnering with those folks. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in tonight. Trevor, you got any last second thoughts before we get off here for kickoff, bro?
No, just appreciate you all. Please, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. Gotta get that in there. But I'm ready, man. Let's go. And good point, Brad. Nail on the head. Keep the offense on the field with a great game plan. Let the defense catch their breath and play good. So appreciate you, man. Let's go get a win, Troy. Let's turn this season around. Let's go eat a W, man. Yeah. That's all I got. Hey, until next time.
Hey, until next time. Go Hills. Appreciate you guys.
Hey Tar Pit crew, thanks for hanging with us today. Quick shout out. Today's episode is powered by Untapped Sports Network. Big thanks to them for the support. If you like this episode, do us a favor. Like it, drop a comment, and share it with a friend. That kind of support goes a long way in keeping the podcast rolling. Make sure you're subscribed and following the Tar Pit Podcast on whatever platform you're listening on right now. And don't forget to follow us on social. We're on X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search the Tar Pit Podcast and you'll find us. Until next time, go Heels.